Metro on WDET. I'm Tia Graham. In this hour, we'll unpack the power of the arts and give thought to its ability to emotionally connect people from all walks of life. Later, an artist and community organizer unpacked how grief can help a community heal. But first, if you're a fan of Tennessee Williams, then you're familiar with his work. Think Cat on a Hot Tin Roof or A Streetcar Named Desire. He's considered one of the greatest American playwrights. His attention to detail and drama inspired a local play in Hamtramck. As I Die and Wheeze is a melodramatic comedy following the death in the family. Southern twin sisters, complete opposites, thought the sky was the limit until the death of their daddy. Now, the twins face debt, scheming suitors, and a spicy, sharp-tongued aunty. As I Die and Wheeze is showing at Planet Ant Theater through the end of the month. It is written by Katie McGraw and Maggie O'Reilly and directed by Brian Lark. Maggie and Bryan joined me on the Metro to talk about the play and the importance of theater and laughter right now. I began the conversation asking Maggie about comedy's role in the play.
I mean, I grew up in a huge Irish family. We're all characters. I feel like all of my characters come from a family member or someone I've met in my community. And so writing basically for me is thinking of the person who's going to write it, which we had these cast members in mind before we even put pen to paper. And so thinking of them and over the years and seeing their work and what we wanted to do, it was basically making sure that we built the character around our friends who are all in their own right the funniest people I've ever met. So it was very easy actually to write this show because we knew and loved the people who were going to be playing these characters, and we knew that they had similar points of view and comedic styles as us. And so it was just so much fun to use everyone's humor and adapt that to their characters. I love making people laugh. It's my definitely my strong suit, and so I was happy to see that translate into this piece.
Bryan, for you directing, how difficult is it to direct comedy for stage?
With these people involved, it's not very difficult at all. Because now you're talking to us, the show is just open, so I don't feel superstitious about it. But it was so very easy with this group of people. And it's, I try from a directorial perspective to come aboard and try to surprise, because so much of comedy is involved in the element of surprise. It's based on surprise. So I just want to enhance the words that are on the page and have them move and just have unexpected little physical bits that enhance the written and spoken comedy.
So why did you decide to parody Tennessee Williams or just melodramas in general?
Well, I am a big fan of 90s rom-coms, and one of my favorite is definitely Steel Magnolias. And Katie and I actually did an improvised Tennessee Williams show a couple years ago, and we had so much fun improvising in that genre. And we always kind of kept that in our back pocket, like that would be something really fun to do. And actually, during COVID, Katie and I took a trip up to my cottage, and we spent the entire weekend watching as many rom-coms as we could possibly do. And so, Steel Magnolias being one of them. And so I definitely just love that over the top drama and everything. It's such a departure from my normal everyday life. And so when you're on stage, that's what you want to be, is, anything but yourself. So it was very fun to take that, and especially doing that improvised Tennessee Williams and putting this story behind it.
Yes.
I think it is wild and crazy that you are considering Steel Magnolias a rom-com, because it is absolutely not.
Hey, it's still lovely and all.
It's still lovely. It still fits that southern over the top vibe that we're going for.
Yeah.
And I just to build off of that. No, Maggie and Katie did not know this when they asked me to join the show, but I adore Tennessee Williams and mid-century American drama and cinema. So we bring a lot of that over the top sort of melodrama to the show. And most of our sound music in the show is from A Streetcar Named Desire. It's from an adaptation of William Faulkner's Sound and the Fury. Like, we're bringing in these little bits of, if you know it, if you get it, that's cool, but you don't have to. It's these giant over the top, like, orchestral moments that sort of match the over the top performances, you know?
And there's little kernels in the show from pop culture, old Hollywood, my aunt's cottage, so there's all these little things that if it pertains to this niche group and they come and see this show, they go wild for it. And it's very fun.
We have a lot happening in the world right now. Why does it deserve to be teased in a way?
Well, that is actually always a goal of Katie and I. We really, really do want you to step in those doors and feel like this play and this show was created with you in mind. And that is always our goal. But also, it is so hard to remain happy in this world right now. And this show, writing this show, being around these people and working in this space that reminds you that there is still good in the world and that people do actually care about community and laughter and happiness. It really took Katie and I into a space where we were able to fully push into that and like lean into that. And this not only hopefully makes other people happy, it made us extremely happy to do this work. And to hear people's laughter in the audience makes it's a bonus for us. Like it made us happy, and I'm so happy that it makes other people happy. And I want them to walk away talking about this rather than the fires that are going around everywhere,
Because
for it a little bit at least. Yeah.
Yeah. And Brian, a similar question, the show is intentionally serious about like nothing, that's kind of the point of it.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
why does that feel so necessary right now?
We need that release valve from this country and from this administration, and particularly, I could say any particular example, but the fact that this administration is targeting the arts in the way that they have, it's just so important to me and to my collaborators that we bring joy in our tiny way. Like, we put on these shows with not much budget and not much time to do them, and we are doing it simply for the love of what we do, and hopefully that joy that we are experiencing with each other comes across. And you're right, this show is nonstop nonsense from top to bottom, and that's what we aimed to provide to people. So if they can come for 72 minutes and enjoy themselves, and then go out into the world feeling a bit more joyful, then we've done our job.
We have a lot happening in the world right now. Why does it deserve to be teased in a way?
Ugh, well, I mean, why doesn't it? I mean, half the things that are going on in the world, it's comical that they're even happening. And I mean, not their outcomes, but the fact that these are our news headlines rather than the actual important things that are going on in the world. And so if this administration can make a mockery of us, then let's make a mockery of a lot of things that mean absolutely nothing to no one.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, yeah.
Even in a show this silly, Maggie's character takes a moment to roast what Dollar General is doing to rural communities around the nation. So even something like this, where we are intentionally making something very silly, like, we're still being a little bit punk about it. And that's kind of the spirit that I've always seen in Planet Ant, is this punk attitude, and aesthetic, and manifesting in many, many different directions. But it's so, that bit of joy, that spirit, that's what we're aiming for. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So self-awareness, the lack of self-awareness is what makes amazing comic characters for the most part. And I feel like the people who are perpetrating the most evils in this world are very self-serious right now, obviously. So the best way to come at these fascist people is to laugh at them. And I just feel like there's not a lot of self-awareness in the characters in this show. And I feel like we are not speaking to the current climate politically in this show, but I feel like it can't help but take root, so we need to poke fun at authority and make fun of people who are taking themselves too seriously.
And I love that you talked about Planet Ant being punk. That kind of is what Planet Ant is, and I think about it. I just think about this scrappy group of people who are going to do anything to make you laugh. Okay, we're going to make you feel good about being in this space at this moment. Bryan, if you could expand on that a little bit as well, because we have been talking about the Trump administration, and we have been talking about that in a roundabout way, but that's what we've been talking about. And you talked about it a little bit as well, the attack on the arts. We're seeing it across the board, federally or locally. We're seeing it across the board. So for you all who are already working in a space like Planet Ant, who has already a small, scrappy team, talk about what it feels like trying to maintain yourselves in this current political climate. Bryan, we're going to start with you.
Well, it makes me angry, first and foremost, the Trump administration and what they're doing to the people and the culture in this nation. And I feel very connected to how I felt in the 90s. I'm 48 years old. I've seen some of this happen before. And I just felt Planet Ant was started many years before I showed up in that community. But I think it was rooted in this rebelliousness. It was a coffee shop. It's been a music venue. They've done comedy and improv. They've done dramatic works as well, whether new or putting up shows that have been on Broadway. The flexibility and the ability to speak to saying truth to power in many, many different ways, dance shows, like they just did the show for Colored Girls on the stage right before us, like I love that it can kind of shoot shots in all these different directions, and hit different targets, but still maintain community and unity. And that's so incredibly powerful, right? Like the two spaces right now going on in Hamtramck, like our set was literally pushed aside so that a band could play. I got a video of a band performing on the stage that our show is on, right? And I think that's incredible. And it just speaks to the scrappiness of what we need to do, that we all need to come together as a community, those of us who oppose the Trump administration, and support the arts and support each other and support with food and with joy, whatever we need to do to stay together to fight this.
Maggie, similarly, we're in this space right now. We're seeing an attack on the arts from all angles. In what ways do you see Planet Ant being a space where, art is being showcased as revolution?
Oh my God. I mean, every stage, every square inch of Planet Ant, I feel like is a little bit of a revolution. Everyone has been welcomed. I've seen shows from people of color, LGBT, just everywhere, immigrants. There's so many opportunities in this space and in this time to push back in any way you can, and art is the most powerful way I feel like you can do it, and especially in a place that not doesn't try to silence you but tries to amplify you, is a wonderful thing. And I've seen the hardships that Planet Ant has gone through with the lack of resources. There's not a lot of grant opportunities anymore, and I mean, we're a 503b, I believe is the code for it. There you go, Bryan, thank you. So I mean, we are dependent on that, and the only way we can survive is with grants and with the public coming here, and every dollar that's spent at the theater goes directly to allowing artists and people's voices to be heard. And that's through music, through comedy, through stand up, as well as written work, as well as improv. But I mean, they also house things like DSA meetings, so there is so much you can get from Planet Ant, and whatever category or lane you're in, you are represented there. And hopefully it is always a safe space. And if it is not, we are always welcome to you letting us know and us improving on that.
For me, covering arts and culture within Metro Detroit, one thing that I have noticed within the arts community and ecosystem in general is the willingness to be open and work across different, aspects of life, whether it is culture, race, whatever it may be. There's this willingness and openness in the arts community. And I'm interested to know how the arts community is more of, I guess you can say, a snapshot of what the country actually is versus what we see in the media of this divisive, almost separate world that we're living in, which in the arts community, that's not the case at all. So, Bryan, if you could just talk about how arts especially the ecosystem, is more of a representation of what the country is versus what we're seeing in the media right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's, we're putting on a show in Hamtramck right now, but just in the past couple of years, I've performed in shows at Detroit Public Theater, which is in Midtown, and in at the Tipping Point Theater in Northville. And these are all very different audiences and very different communities, but there's such a hunger to support the arts. I just keep seeing, especially those two theaters are doing a great job of getting butts into seats to see these different shows and these different themes that normally that you're not getting from the mainstream media or whatever story they're trying to tell us. But I have just felt so powerfully welcome wherever I have been lucky to perform and to create, that an audience is craving it. And I feel like that is just like, a younger culture, a younger generation right now is returning or wanting to return to the cinema to see movies, right? Like, I just feel like there's such a hunger that's not being served, and we're being told that hunger's not there, right? That people just stare at their phones and that we're supposed to be alone in the house now, I guess. But I don't want to do that. And I'm going to pursue shows and try to tell truth wherever I can. And I just went to the Detroit Film Theater for the first time in a few years a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, why am I not here every week? Like, we don't have independent cinema theaters really much anymore in Detroit, right? They're all pretty much gone at this point. There's pop-ups, right? But I'm just so inspired and heartened in this dark hour of our country that people are hungry for art and for connectivity and communal experiences.
Maggie, similar question, if not the same question. It's just about this art being a representative of what our country actually is.
Yeah. You turn on the news or you go online or anything, you're going to see horrible, sad, terrible things that are happening. And you're going to hear voices of a very few amount of people that don't represent a grander amount of the people in this country. I don't feel very represented by a lot of the things I hear in the news or the media. And when I return to a theater like Planet Ant, or even I've gone to the Redford Theater a couple times in the last a month or two, and to be in a room, a great, beautiful space like either one of those, and be surrounded by all of these people are coming together to watch an old film or see a candlelit quartet or to come see our silly little show. It reminds you that there is actually good people still, and that just because those voices that have money and platform, it doesn't mean that they are representative of all of us and our points of view, and it will just remind you that there is still happiness. You just have to go to those spaces and be reminded of it and bring it back out into the world and reject all the rest of it.
It's just hard to process a lot of what's happening. And like I said, I get to cover arts and culture, and I'm watching people just slowly, not on purpose, but tune away or tune out some of the things that are happening, good, like cultural things that are happening, because it's hard to focus on those things. But
so hard, yeah.
Yeah. Bryan, we'll start with you. What do you hope people take away from the show and the performance?
I hope they can see how deeply silly we are as humans and performers. But you can balance that silliness with, a seriousness about the world, and finding that outlet and the release that you can keep moving forward and staying in your joy. Like, that's what I want. I want the show, the 7 people who perform in the show are giving it 100%. And I just want people to know that are in the audience that we are grateful, and it's a privilege to make you laugh. And that is what I hope people take away from it.
Yeah. Maggie.
I want everyone to leave here with their shoulders just a little lighter. I want everyone to leave with a smile on their face, and to know that you can have serious things happen, whether they're nonsense like they are in our show, or you can have joyful things happen, and they can coexist, and they can really you can be happy even in these dark times. You have to remind yourself of it, and you have to actively go and seek it out, like in places like Planet Ant. But it is still there, and this show means so much to me because I got to work on it with some of my best friends, and Bryan, who is an amazing director, and they all reminded me every day that people are generous and loving and caring, and I want the audience to see that with their own eyes.
Maggie O'Reilly is the co-writer and Brian Lark is the director of As I Die and Wheeze. All performances take place in the Ant Hall, Planet Ant Theater, of course, in Hamtramck. And the last show is this Thursday night, actually. More information at planetant.com/events. Coming up, how can art be an outlet to express grief collectively as a community? We'll find out. You all stay right there. This is The Metro.